Tell it how it is. I appreciate that. A man of honesty.
Let me tell you what you suck at today.
Yeah. What is up, guys? We have a new episode here on the 615 House podcast. It is your host, Chris Rudiger. I am so excited because I have wanted to have this guy on the podcast for a while, and we finally made it happen. They say big things come in small boxes, but big things also come in 6'7" giants that are country music stars. I'm not gonna lie, I'm excited, but I'm also a little intimidated to have this interview because he is, well, significantly taller than me. He did play basketball at Drury University, and then he got accepted into Harvard University for a medical program, but he chose not to go and instead come to Nashville and risk it to be a country artist. And guess what? It paid off. He's got 2 number 1s, Prayed for You, and Everywhere But On. We're going to talk about that plus new music. He also has been on Good Morning America, Kelly Clarkson Show, The Late Night Show, Family Feud. The list goes on. So we got to talk about that as well. I want to welcome the 6'7" beast, Matt Stell.
I feel like there's a few of us in country music that get the tail of the tape read before they start, you know, like a boxer. Right. You know, get all the metrics out of the way.
I woke up this morning and I was thinking about, I was like, well, Matt's pretty tall. Who else could like field the country music basketball team if we were to go, you know, into a competition? I feel like Trace Atkins is probably up there. He's pretty tall. Who else have you found? Blake Shelton?
Brett Young's big.
Yeah, Brett Young's sneaky tall.
Yeah, he's almost my height. Like he's an athlete. He would be up there. Man, we filled a pretty good team. I feel like, you know, we've hooped out and, you know, done some stuff. You know, like Kane's pretty good, and you know, and so is Sam Hunt. He's athletic, you know, he can get up and down. But there's a few out there.
Yeah, I think
Noah West can ball. He's a good player.
There you go. We could have a team going on. When you did play basketball, what position did you play?
I was a forward. So like we did sort of like a this is like, who cares? But we did like a motion offense. But yeah, I was a forward. I wouldn't even go. Yeah, man. You know, I set some screens. I got some rebounds. I made a few passes from the interior. You know, I got a bucket every now and then. Tried to be efficient.
Hey, big board guy, you know, wins championships.
Man, you got, you know, it's like sometimes if you got to do those things that don't show up sometimes to win. And maybe I flatter myself. I don't know if my coaches would say the same thing, but I felt like I was willing to do that. But yeah, you know. Whatever. At this point now, I do talk some shit online about being like the best basketball player in all of music now, and like including the rappers. Like I'm better than all of them. Yeah, and I don't know that it's true, but I feel like
once you say it, though, you can't go back on your word. You gotta hold your ground.
Master P, he got a bucket. Wayman Tisdale, you know, he played at Kansas and won. Sure. But in terms of like, right now. You know, I'm all right. I'm cold with it.
You're feeling pretty good.
Yeah, I get a bucket. Yeah. So maybe somebody will take me up on that one day. I've talked to just a lot of shit in the comments of like basketball aggregate websites and like all of those things that post stuff about like, oh, J. Cole Cook, and I'm like, dude, I would give you every bucket. Like I would give you like KFC buckets.
Well, you just got the height, man. Like I just don't. I don't want to go up against you in the paint. You know, I'll leave it at that. I do want to talk because after you played basketball at Drury, I believe you applied to Harvard, right, for a program. Am I correct about that?
Yeah, but just to like, so this was a while after. Like I went to play ball. And after I played ball, I went to Arkansas and got my master's when I was learning how to play music. And I had some, life happened, had a band in a van and whatever. Did that all over, the South and Midwest, a lot in the Texas music scene. Had a little success writing in that scene with some artists. And then I finally moved to Nashville. And I was in Nashville a couple years trying to get a publishing deal. My thing was I wanted to be like, I flatter myself with these comparisons. I just mean in the mold of, but like somebody like Jaron Johnson from Cadillac 3, right? Like he's written a bunch of country songs, and he had his band that he did his own thing with. And I thought that's what I wanted to do. You know, at the time, Chris Stapleton was doing that too. You know, he had like Steel Drivers, Johnson Brothers, those stuff, and he was writing these country hits. And I was like, okay, I want to write for like radio hits, and then I want to have my little like project to the side as an artist, do that.
Was it called the Matt Stell Band, or was it something else?
Well, I mean, by that point, it was just me. You know, I just wanted to release music that was like very much not paying attention to like people liking it. You know, just kind of doing what I thought was cool.
Do what you love, man.
Yeah. So I'm telling two stories at once here, but so I moved to Nashville to try to get a publishing deal, and I was here a couple years. Nothing had materialized. I had the worst deal in the world offered to me, and I would have taken it, but then they rescinded the deal. They're like, oh, well, we actually offered 3 guys for 2 spots, and we're going to sign these other 2 dudes. I was like, all right.
That's brutal. So they offer you a shitty deal, and then they're like, oh, and we're going to take back that crappy deal. So
exactly.
There's no deal.
Exactly. Yeah. This happened, and
Damn.
So then I went on like this medical missions trip with a church out of like the girl I was seeing at the time lived in Dallas. And so anyway, like that, I just went down there to like, where it was like a medical thing. So we worked alongside these doctors and pharmacists, but mainly doctors. And I just helped out. And I was like, damn, this is incredible. These people can just show up, help these people. You get there in the morning, there's a line of people that need everything from, you know, some abscess cut off to like antibiotics to like diabetes, you know, insulin or what, you know, like whatever. And I was like, this is incredible. And worked my ass off there with them and slept great every night. You know, it was great. I mean, to help, you know what I mean? It was a great experience.
Yeah.
And I thought, man, you know, I've been in this town, you know, for this long, and, you know, I'd already been to school, and I was like, man, maybe music is just like this hobby thing. Maybe writing songs, maybe that's not my thing. You know, I'll always do it, but maybe I'm not one of these guys I want to be. And so I applied to Harvard's Extension School, which is like different than like, so basically I had a master's degree, right? But I needed like some hard sciences before I could apply to, you know, hopefully their med school, right? And so I needed like organic chemistry 1 and 2, and I needed genetics, and I needed physics, and like I needed like something like,
you're just stacking up on education, man.
Yeah. And I was about to have to take like every class that everyone says sucks at once, and but I was going to do it, or try to do it, and then, you know, 3 years after that, and then residency, blah blah blah. But I was like, you know what, whatever, you know, I'm down, and so I got into that program. I think they call it a post-bac program, you know, post-baccalaureate. I got in, but then like 8 weeks or something like that before I was about to move up to Cambridge, or, you know, Boston area, I got a publishing deal, and that change. I mean, I was like, man, I got to stick this out. So I hit the advisor up, and I was like, hey, I need to defer this. You know, I may come, but I got this out. And they were like, yeah, cool. Because I don't think it's, you know, I don't know how hard it is to get into those programs. And, you know, they were like, yeah, okay, come next year if you want, basically. Yeah. And so I stayed here. I did that, and I wrote songs, and one thing led to another. And, you know, I put out an EP with the publishing company at the time, and it had Pray For You on it, among other songs. You know, I had no idea that was a hit song. I'm not one of these people have that gift. I don't have that gift. And so, yeah, we put out this EP. Pray For You is on it, and it got on a playlist on Spotify, I think, at the time, and it just blew up, man. I mean, you know, it was this quote unquote streaming story, and it got me a record deal, and it got me all this. But it also, like, it changed my life in so many ways that I did not see happening. Like, I went from being who I, you know, again, one of these guys like Jaron or like Hardy, or, you know, that I thought, you know, I wanted to write these songs. I thought I was writing Pray For You for Blake Shelton or whoever. Yeah. To being the person that sings Pray For You on the radio, to being a country radio like guy. Right. And, you know, changed my life in every positive way. But it also changed it in some other interesting ways.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad that you deferred and waited, because moments like that, you know, they happen in this town, particularly unexpectedly. When I want to talk about Prayed for You, because that song, like you said, it was kind of a streaming story. And then eventually, you know, label gets involved and takes it to radio. Like, at what point did you know, like, all right, this song might actually have the legs?
I never knew. I wrote it and I thought we wrote a good song because we sat down. Allison Veltz, great songwriter, came in and she was like, I got this idea. You know, I met this guy last night. I think he's the one, and I feel like I prayed for him. So she had this idea. You know, didn't know you from Adam more than I could fathom, but I prayed for you. It was like, all right, let's write that.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Yeah, and so we wrote that kind of, and it's really telling mainly her story, but just in a you know, in a way that I could tell it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I left the room thinking that we wrote a good song. I had no idea that my life was going to be different after that moment. And I had no idea that song was going to be big. I had no idea, because like people just start saying numbers to you. You know, it's like had these visits to these labels in town, and you know, I varied interest here and there, but like no was the answer. Yeah. And then this song comes along, and then people start talking about numbers, about streaming and consumption and all this shit, and I'm just like, I don't know. I mean, you could just be saying like, that's like points at skee ball. Like, I don't know what they mean. You know what I mean? It's like watching a sports, like watching cricket and trying to figure out who's winning. Like, I don't know what, you know. Sure. And so I'm relying on these other people, but I can tell by the smile on their face that they're really excited to tell me these numbers. So I'm like, that's got to be good, right?
Well, and generally more is better, right? And
more is better, but it's,
you know?
Yeah, but it's like, how much is good, how much is great, how much is like, so I really, you know, the song, you know, after being told no, I got a call from a guy in New York that is, you know, a Sony like label based out of New York that, you know, has like Nelly signed and you know, Noah Cyrus and like 24 karat gold and like no country people. And they're like, well, you know, basically if this song was on Rap Caviar, you'd have people knocking down their door if it was performing like this relative to the other songs on the playlist. It's like, cool. So I signed, you know, a record deal, and they built a country staff and started it. And then that became, you know, whatever, you know, that became a hit. And I had just had no idea the whole time that, you know, I was just like, this is crazy what one song could do.
It's an amazing story. And then, you know, you come to follow it up with Everywhere But On, which also, you know, goes to radio and sort of adds to your resume. What's the process like after having those songs and then going out and playing shows and people are singing it back to you? And, you know,
well, it's the best thing in the world. Literally, it's the reason I wanted to do it in the first place. Now, I never thought I would be the guy that was singing wedding songs, just to be honest with you. Like, I didn't know that. Like, when I was talking about the way that it changed my life, you know, people associate, you know, oh, the Pray For You guy. And, you know, it's great to be associated with anything, but I wasn't like, but people kind of think that's you, you know, who you are, and that is part, but it's like not all or whatever. So it was incredible. All I wanted to do was make music that people cared about. And now I was a little bashful about it, you know, like, oh, I don't want to write, you know, songs about how bad it hurts and all this stuff. And now it's like the biggest compliment in the world that people would include that in something that means as much to them as their wedding, you know? And I really, and when people sing it back, it's the best thing. It's what I wanted to do at shows. It's what I do at shows that I go to of people that I love, you know, I'm still a huge music fan. Yeah. So like, that's the biggest compliment. Everywhere But On was one of my favorite songs that I'd written. I couldn't believe I got to release it as a single because it was like, I liked it. So not that I didn't love, I mean, Pray For You, I liked it. But like Everywhere But On, I was like, oh, this is a country song, man. It's about how bad it hurts, and I turn a phrase, and it's what it blah, 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 blah. And, but the thing about that was that song went #1 during COVID. And so the sing-along parts of it, or the touring on my second #1 parts of all that stuff, kind of just didn't happen, you know, because our first tour, like headlining tour after Pray For You, we had like 25 dates, and we had like 20 of them done, and we were in the Northeast. We played New York on a Wednesday, Salisbury, Mass on a Thursday. And, you know, we noticed on the Wednesday we had sold out this place, but it wasn't full. And then the Thursday, there were less people there. And then Friday, we were going up to Boston or Foxborough, and we got the call. And I knew it was coming, but we got the call, and we just, the bus
slowly rolled back to Nashville.
The bus just exited out in like a rest area.
Yeah.
And just hit that freeway back down south, and we put the bus up for, you know, the better part of a year. And so, like, you know, part of Everywhere But On just kind of got skipped over because of, you know, I'm not going to sit here and complain about COVID. People died, but that was a very much a part of that happening. So, you know,
do you get to reap the rewards kind of now? I mean, now that shows are back, or, you know, do you still, is that still a song that is in your set list that everyone's singing? You know, like,
yeah, I mean, 100%. It's not, but yes and no. Like now, when we go to play the shows, yes, people know it, but like the wash of it being on the radio, or like all of those things, you know, coming to a crescendo, didn't happen.
Yeah, there's an arc of a song, and there's a part of it that was missed. I get it. Yeah, man. Well, I mean, it's still one of my favorite songs. I know COVID was a tough time, and you know, I think the beauty of it, you know, was sort of the craziness of it, which was that everyone's on their phones, right? And we're like, you know, this thing called TikTok comes along, and then Instagram comes along. We were talking about this earlier, but you know, nowadays, like, a lot of people are consuming music organically, right, on these platforms. And I think many artists are able to kind of leverage those socials. Like, how have you navigated sort of the new world of TikTok and Instagram as it comes to marketing your music?
It does not come easy. And I have people around me that help me to deploy that stuff, because, you know, I'm not unique in this at all. I would just tell you that for every douchey, like cheesy, corny, lip syncing video that some dude is doing or girl is doing in their truck, I think I just had the song of the summer. Yeah. You know, like all of that shit is like, I don't know very many people at all that like doing it and want to do it. But the reality is it's part of it. And so you just kind of have to get over it. And what I don't like about it is I don't like synthetic. I don't like the doing what everybody else is doing part of it, but there's just no way around it. And so, you know, the times that I can be creative with it is when I enjoy it, but I don't, but it ends up mostly being the cringe shit. And, but here, the thing is like, it works. And it's just like, it almost reminds me of now, if you go to buy like a vintage t-shirt from Alan Jackson from the 1992 Neon Rainbow, chasing that Neon Rainbow tour.
Sure.
What's on that shirt? His face, right?
Yeah, of course.
Okay. Like, those are the worst t-shirts ever to me. Like band t-shirts, like now that have like just the picture of the artist and their name on it. It always is the biggest selling shirt.
Look, man, I love you. I don't know if I'm pulling up to a Matt Stell show with a massive Matt Stell face.
I'm not either.
I think I might get some look from my boys.
100%. But my point is, like, I love, you know, band merch is some of the best stuff, you know, the coolest shit in the world. I'm sorry, I'm swearing. But the best stuff in the world is these like bands that have cool merch, right? But if you go to, I would just be willing to bet that if you go to see John Mayer and he's got, you know, all this stuff up there, the best-selling thing is going to be something with a picture of John Mayer on it.
Of course.
And to me, that's like the least, and I have it too, but like the least creative of the merch, and it sells the best. And I was just trying to make that analogy to what lip singing in my truck is to TikTok. It's like the creative stuff is super creative and fun and creative. Yeah. But what gets the job done is that stuff. So you do it.
Oh, yeah, I think that's actually a great analogy. And I think too, with the pressure of consumption online, or you look online, you see somebody that has 5 million views off a video because they did the cringy shit, and you kind of sit back and go like, well, hold on, I want to be in the ball game, right? I want to have a shot, and like the only way to do that is finding your lane in that. How have you been able to stay kind of authentic in yourself, in doing that?
Well, one way is that, I have a team. What I do is I go and film, record social, the stuff that we need, and then that gets deployed by someone, like the lip syncing videos or stuff. But what I try to do, and they encourage you to do this, is to also post stuff that doesn't have anything to do with music, that is like authentic to yourself, like, so stuff I think is funny or stuff I think is interesting. I like doing that. Like, to this day, like at this moment right now, like my TikTok is not that big, but whatever. My biggest TikTok by like 3 or 4x is not me doing the lip singing, not pray, whatever. It's like I just filmed myself. Like, I started taping myself drawing stuff on the signature line of like kiosks where they ask you to tip or whatever. Yeah. And so I did this one where I drew the American flag, and I like set it to like Lee Greenwood music playing, and proud to be an American. Right. And it's got 1 million views on it. Like like I enjoy like funny, like that kind of stuff.
Yeah, it's sort of the like the dumb like day in the life stuff, or the creative stuff that just doesn't make you think too much, which is the part I think we can appreciate sometimes.
Yeah, for sure. And I think the people that are good at it, I think are creative. People are so creative. They would just wow you with their creativity, and the hardest thing to do is to be creative in a simple way. And so anytime that happens, whether I do it or whether I see somebody else do it, it's just like, that's cool. You got to, especially if you've ever tried to do it and you realize how hard it is to like do. Of course, that gives you more respect for people that are. That's the same thing with music. Like I used to be real bad about saying that sucks. Right. When I heard something that I didn't like, and now I go, man, not my cup of tea, but
of course, man,
I get it.
That's the way people crap on your song. You go, well, try writing one yourself, So yeah, I get it, man. We're in the studio live here with Matt Stell on the podcast. We're going to be right back in just a sec for you guys. What is up, guys? We are back. 615 House Podcast. We have Matt Stell in the studio. We have to talk about this new music, but first, I would like to move to the game portion of this podcast. This is rank these 5 things without knowing what comes next. Matt Stell in the hot seat. Here's how it works. I'm going to say something. You rank it 1 through 5, but you don't know what comes next. And then we get to the last answer, and either it's great or not. People can agree or disagree.
Love it.
All right. Rank these 5 things. First category is types of beers. Okay. There is the shower beer.
Oh, 2.
I do like a shower beer. What about an airport beer?
3.
Saving some room for the 1 spot. A beach beer.
4.
A sports game beer.
Dang. 5.
Wow, you're waiting for the last one,
See
right?
What it is.
And the last one is a concert beer, which is in the 1 hole.
Yeah, it's got to be
it's gotta
one.
Be, right?
Yeah, I would say that's pretty close to ranking. If I was going to switch anything, maybe beach beer and airport beer need to be swapped. But I don't know, man. It's kind of like shower beers, though. I'm not going to underrate a shower beer.
Of course,
that's an elite.
You'll find me showering and beering up quite a bit. I try to do it discreetly sometimes because I just don't want people to think like it's a regular occurrence, but. Well, it happens.
My shower has a cup holder.
Yeah.
Like, just kidding.
That's innovation right there. Yeah. All right. Moving along. Rank these 5 things. There is no category. It is just things. Okay.
Okay.
This is sort of the more advanced level, but I feel like you're kind of getting the hang of this. So here we go. First up is number 2 pencils.
5.
They're kind of boring. I actually agree with that. Becoming an uncle.
Oh, dang. It's 2.
An actual fight club.
Oh man. Side note here. I know this is probably supposed to be rapid, but
no, this is good. I want the story.
No, I just like this really good piece about misunderstood movies a little bit. Not a little bit, like the misunderstood movies in general. And like Fight Club is up there on evidently people missing the point of what the writer and director meant in that case. So it's somewhere on TikTok. You probably get it there. But yeah. So what space do I have left? 4. I'll take 4. Slightly better than pencils.
Okay, so we got 1 and 3 left. What about Darth Vader lightsabers?
How is that not 1?
You're putting it at 1? I mean, like that.
Dang, man, could you just imagine just having a lightsaber? Don't you?
Think about the power you have.
Yeah, because don't you have to? I'm not a Star Wars person. I have, but don't you have to like be a Jedi to have one?
Yeah, you have to go through the training and acceptance of being a Jedi to get it. So it proves that you are have done that, and then B, you have it and no one else has it.
It's got to be 1, right?
I would think so. You just, you never know with the last one. And the last one is drunk cigs.
Drunk cigs, man. Of the cigs I've smoked in my life, they've all been...
they've all been there.
They've all been, except for like maybe the first couple I tried when I was a kid. They've all been accompanied with a cocktail of some kind. So
yeah, some sort of beverage for the adults. Well, that was rank these 5 things. You did really well, dude.
Well, I'd like to thank my teammates and my sponsors.
Well, I think it just comes from your basketball background. A lot of people choke under the pressure, but it seems like you've been there. When it gets down to the wire. So
that's right.
Well, man, let's talk a little bit about new music. "Breaking in Boots" is one of my favorite songs from you. I've listened. I've saved it to my playlist. It keeps coming up a bunch, and I'm jamming to it. And hopefully that's the first of a lot of music you're putting out this year. But talk to me a little bit about that song and sort of what it means to you.
Yeah, man. "Breaking in Boots" is. Thank you for saying that. It's been a lot of fun to have new music out, and new music out to radio and see kind of people responding to it in a positive way. That song with me, it's about a sort of a lot of instances, but kind of one in particular where I basically saw a girl across a bar and she had on boots that were similar to mine, and I was gonna have to say something. So I went to tab out to go say something, and shoot one shot, as it were.
Sure.
And but she was gone, and I could never find her. And so we wrote this song very soon after. Like Ben Stennis, I was writing with him, and he had this title. He was like, "I'm not sure what it means, but she'll leave your heart breaking in boots, or break it in your boots, or break it in boots." I was like, "Oh, I know what that's about." And so we wrote that song, man. I love that kind of up tempo, kind of heavy heartbreak banger. It's not really that heartbreaky, but it is, in that vein of country music that I love. And so yeah, man, that song with this project, it's try to be as true as possible, whether that's lighter subject matter like this, or like, some other songs, or whether it's like, the heaviest of heavy stuff I've ever written about. The whole goal was to just be true, tell the truth. And so I was telling the truth there.
I love that song. I think you kind of nailed it there, but it is a heartbreak song, but it has that groove and that up-tempo feel. So it's like you can still crank that if you're like going out or like at the lake or whatever it might be. It's like, it's a fun song. And that's, I don't know, I love that, it's not, there's a lot of great heartbreak songs, but they're like sapping. You're like, damn, like, I got to deal with this by myself with like a glass of wine or something. But it's like, no, I love the tune, man. I do want to talk about, there's one song, I'm actually pulling it up on your Instagram, because I couldn't quite remember exactly what you said before playing it, but "Born Lonely." You said, and I'm looking at it now, you said this is like one of the truest songs you've ever written. And then you teased a verse and a chorus of this. Yeah. And I mean, dude, what a song. Like, talk to me about the process of writing this.
Man, there's a lot of things to say, I suppose, or about this song. You know, from the song in general is like, I knew that my favorite music, right, are from my favorite artists, and it's because, you know, it sounds good, but really my favorite stuff is I believe them. And whether or not it's like, you know, them talking about characters that aren't them, like Isbell doesn't write about himself all the time, you know, but he's telling the truth in a way that you believe. A lot of my favorite songwriters do that. And so, you know, with this project, I felt like, you know, the next step for me, for one, I got out of like a situation where I had people that didn't believe in what I wanted to do and thought they knew better. And I myself am a consensus builder. I'm a team player. I'm somebody who likes doing that stuff we talked about earlier about, you know, trying to do things to help you win. And I do like that, but it also, when everybody's not on board like that, or when everybody doesn't have incentives aren't aligned, you end up with stuff that I'm just talking about me, myself. I ended up with stuff that I was not as proud of as I wanted to be, because it wasn't real enough. And it was, oh man, we got to make sure the next thing we release, we're servicing this market, because, you know, we got to sell tickets and we got to stream. It really wasn't even sell tickets, is we got to stream, because
it's back to that data conversation of,
yeah. And that's important, man. I mean, you know, I'm not discounting that, but I am saying that I started making decisions based on things that were not what I thought was cool. And I started to make music feel like a job, and it started to make me be a douche. Like my inner dialogue was, I love music, and I felt myself being like jealous of other people's success, and I felt myself not wanting to listen to New Music Friday to see what people were doing, because it felt like sort of like competition in an unhealthy way, in a non-creative way, in a maybe business-like way, but something was unconnected. And so there was a portion of my post-COVID, all that stuff we were talking about, like missing the wave to ride and trying to catch another wave, you know, of oh, we got to go back to the well. And I knew I didn't want to do that, but I didn't. I had to learn that lesson. I had to learn that lesson, I guess, the hard way, instead of, you know, some people instinctively just can't do that. And I learned that I cannot bullshit. You know, I can be an artist, and I can step out of myself and understand, maybe be empathetic, so I can write from, you know, different perspectives. But I know that I cannot bullshit. I hate it. It makes me a worse person in general. It makes me not like the thing that I love the most. And I hated that. And I knew I could feel myself changing. I finally bit, why is this? And it's because the dude that sat on his, you know, in his dorm room or his apartment in college and learned how to play all these songs and just only wanted to do cool shit, or it's stuff that I thought was cool. I mean, a lot of it sucked, but I mean, at least I was, you know, my heart, my head were in the right place. I got away from that. And I was like, after that experience, and that's all I'll say about it, you know, but right now, but after that experience, I said, I will never do this again. I do not care what it costs me. I don't care if I'm no longer a country radio artist. I don't care. I can't fake it. I can't bullshit, and I won't. And so, you know, part of that is, you know, understanding that I'm not my heroes even as bad as I want to be, and trying to pretend like I'm Chris Knight, or is it just as bad as me trying to pretend to be Justin Bieber or whoever, fill in the blank, you know, right. Like it's just as disingenuous or inauthentic. And so coming to terms with who I am as an artist, what I sound like, what I write about, and letting the chips fall where they may was the most liberating thing. And it totally lifted this weight. I can't wait to hear. I love music, like hearing it again. So this is a very long answer. I'm so sorry.
No,
but I mean, I just mean it a lot. And so with this record, I was like, I'm cutting a record, even before my label said that I could, I was like, I don't care. Drop me. I don't give a shit. Like, I'm going to do what I think is cool. And luckily, after some other internal like shuffling, I found out that that was what I did was good. Let's just put it that way. Yeah. And it set off a lot of positive dominoes. So, okay, how does that relate to the question you asked me about Born Lonely? Born Lonely is a song that I wrote that I actually wrote it once by myself. And I knew I had this title and I had this idea, and I was thinking about my childhood. And if anybody knows, you know, my mom and I are the closest you could be, you know, love her, no shade at her. But my childhood was tough because, you know, my parents were split up, right? And I'm not calling it trauma because I didn't starve and I wasn't beaten. You know, there's people that have serious, but I would be lying if I said that it didn't mess me up or at least change me in some important ways. And I see it most vividly in relationships on how I can't have them. Mm-hmm. When I do have them, I kind of don't, like, I shy away from that. And it's like asking those questions of like, why is that? And it's because for a lot of my life, family was where like pain came from. Not because I have great people, great step parents too, but my parents, and it just, mm-hmm. it bothered me. And, you know, it took me till now to be able to say that. And I was embarrassed about it a little bit, but I was like, you know what? If I'm going to do all this truth telling, tell the truth. And so I wrote this song, and it, like, I thought it was good. And then fast forward a little bit, and I'm in the writer's room with Jake Mitchell, Benji Davis, a couple guys I really like. And Jake's got this vibe, and we're talking. I was like, guys, listen, I wrote this song or this title. It means the world to me. This feels like, for whatever reason, we were kind of having a conversation. I was like, whatever reason, this feels like something we may need to chase down. Now, I've already written it, so if I like that one better, I may just keep it. But if y'all want to try this title and try to make it better, you know, let's give it a shot. They said, okay. And it got way better, like just way better. And, you know, this song is about like meeting someone and seeing myself in someone and the problems that, you know, I have of, you know, coming like from a broken home and how that affects my relationships with people, and seeing it in someone that I care about and being able to go, you know what, you're this way because I'm this way. Mm-hmm. And just so, you know, and so that's where it came from. And I was embarrassed to say that for a long time and talk about things that aren't like outlaw or whatever, you know, right. Like, oh, you have your child. Like, I've always minimized it, but it's the fact of the matter, man. It's, you know, so that's what it is.
Yeah, I mean, thank you for sharing that, dude. That was
many words, bro. I'm sorry. Just
that was super real. There's a lot to unpack there. I mean, the first thing I'll say is, I love that you're writing and putting out music that means something to you and that you care about. And I do agree. I think there's a lot of topics that, for whatever reason, certain genres, you know, maybe are like sheltered from, and just the way that whatever the commercial music is, it just doesn't talk about that, right? But I think there are a lot of people out there, you know, that probably have had similar experiences with their upbringings, or maybe similar experience on sort of the relationship front that you mentioned, and really can relate to this song. And I think like having the, you know, courage to just kind of be like, you know, fuck it, I'm gonna put out this song, right, and it means something to me. You know, I think that's really cool, and I think it's gonna connect, you know, more than you expect.
Man, I really, you know, I appreciate that, because it's just like, thank you.
You know, I'm rarely am I sort of left like speechless on a podcast here,
because I said like, every word in the world.
It was great, man. Like, you know, and I think a lot of people, you know, to your first point, I think a lot of people struggle with jealousy and anxiety and frustrations when they see other people that are, it becomes this comparison game, because it's so easy to look up how many followers or how many streams you have, and if you have more than me, well, then you're farther along or you're better. And you know, that game of numbers and comparison just like only digs you farther down. I'm just like happy that you have had that realization, and I hope, you know, other people are having that as well. So
yeah, man. And it's not like those things don't matter. They do matter, especially if you want to play, you know, music as like a, you know, a job or whatever. but like it's also the case that to be an authentic, like I don't know. I mean, there's probably artists that can do the thing where they can just say what they think people like and it works. And that's probably a superpower, you know, but It's just like, you know, for me, my favorite stuff at least doesn't seem to be that. And I just, for me, for this to matter, you know, for this to be what I do with my life, you know, to make a living, especially whatever, it's like, it needs to matter. And with me, everything that goes in the funnel of creativity, the only thing I can control is, did I meet my own standard that day, you know, and then let the chips fall with me. So anyway.
Yeah. Well, I love it. Well, Born Lonely and Breaking in Boots, you can stream them, run it up, share it for this guy, because data still does matter. For sure. I do appreciate you sharing that. I read on a little bit of a lighter note, I read or saw a video of you. You were saying that you claim to be the best ex-boyfriend there is.
Pretty elite.
So what I want to know is, you know, what are sort of the tips and tricks to being the best ex-boyfriend?
That's good. Yeah, I mean, I'm just the best because, you know, I got a lot of reps in.
Yeah. I feel like it's a quantity game for sure.
Exactly, man. Like, you know, I learned, you know, there's things that you learn and like, you know, all joking aside, once you feel like, I don't know, man, like I say that half joking, but like the other day I ordered a book and I didn't check where I was, like I just ordered it, right? But the last time I ordered a book off of this website, because it wasn't Amazon, because it just wasn't. But so I tried to order this book, but it sent to the last address that I sent a book to, which I guess would have been to this girl's place. And so I sent the thing, and then I got like a text. It was like a picture of this book that I ordered from my ex, and she was like, said something like funny, you know, like, why would you think I'd give a shit about, you know, like information theory or whatever the hell it was. I can't remember what it was. And I just take that as like, if I have a book sent to my ex, probably my most recent ex, and they text me back and we're able to figure out me getting said book, there can't be too many hard feelings, right? Like,
sure.
You know, like she could have just been like, had a complete, just like book burning, you know, but she didn't. So I just chalk that up to evidence that you know, like you try to burn every bridge.
Pretty calculated maneuver by it, you know. You know, it's cost efficient. You know, you buy a book, send it, and you know, test the waters there, and see what happens.
Man, one time this is off topic, but it just reminded me of that. But this is like some girl had in her profile had like a quote for some poem that I didn't know who it was or something, and it didn't have it like. She didn't have it attributed to anybody. She just had it in quotations. And so I just highlighted the quote, Googled it, and found out. And I was like, oh, man, I love Billy Collins, you know, books and poetry. And it's just like, oh, do you do? And, you know, and we dated for 5 years. So
look at that. So, it works. That's
you got to use your noggin sometimes.
I'm just waiting for the day that goes poorly and there's a video online of the girl burning your book.
It's going to do.
Matt Stell, this guy.
Yeah, the second that I say that about being a good it's just like famous last words.
Dude, it's been awesome having you in the studio. We have just a few minutes left. So I do want to get to this portion of the podcast. We have good friends at Ariat that are Country Western Apparel, and they like to do this game with us called Rapid Fire Questions. Very simple. Maddie's going to wind up 60 seconds on the clock, right, Matt? How we doing? And you just got to kind of free flow this. All right. Some people have struggled with it, but based on your performance of the other games, I feel like you're in a good spot.
Hell yeah.
So, rapid fire questions with Ariat. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. What was the last thing you bought on the internet?
A book.
Oh man, I'm taking up your time. Describe yourself in 3 words.
Tall, true, and funny. I hope.
You are. Favorite dipping sauce?
Oh, Dean's French onion dip.
That's good. I like that. If there was a movie made after you, what actor would you want playing Matt Stell?
Rick Fox.
Go-to McDonald's order.
Sausage biscuit.
That's fire. Fastest speed you've ever driven in a car?
A car or truck, doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter. Any vehicle.
Man, a 2006 32 valve 3/4 ton Cummins Dodge that's chipped up will shut off at 103 thereabouts. So
yeah, and you pushed it all the way there. I like that.
Oh yeah.
Boots or sneakers?
60-40 boots.
There you go. And one collaboration, your dream collaboration.
Megan Thee Stallion.
I did see you slid into those DMs. How's that going for you?
Man, it's lonely in there.
Yeah.
It's starting to echo in those DMs, but
yeah, you just got to follow it up with a book.
Exactly. Oh, Meg, I'm so sorry. I emailed you this book, like How to Survive with the World's I'm just kidding.
Yeah. Oh man, 60 seconds presented by Area. That was good. That was good. I think your performance on the other games was top tier. I think your performance on this gets like an A-.
That's fair. I'll take that criticism. I would also, if we're doling out opportunities for improvement,
yeah, please.
You could maybe not laugh so hard at the things that I said, so you could give me more questions.
Yeah. I understand. Are you looking to run this back at some point? Because
Let's run it back at some point.
We can run it back. Look at that. Look, we tell it how it is. I appreciate that. A man of honesty.
Let me tell you what you suck at today.
Yeah, this is good.
I suck at short answers.
I had a buddy on the Logan Crosby was on an episode a couple weeks back, and midway through the podcast, he started asking me questions. I looked at him, I'm like, wait, is this my podcast or yours? So I love it. Flip the script, baby. Well, dude, thanks for taking the time to be in here. Super excited about this new project you have. You're hitting the road as well this year?
Yeah, man, we're a lot of places all the time, and we keep the roads hot.
Yeah, I can't wait to check out a show. You guys check him out, Matt Stell on socials. Run up that music, and dude, thanks again for doing this, because like this is an opportunity for me to meet a lot of people in town that I maybe don't get the time to always hang with and hear about their stories. So I appreciate you for being so open and just a fun hang, bro. Like, so thank you.
Absolutely, man. Next time, let's do this in the afternoon so we can justify some cold beers.
I was thinking about that. We may have to crack a couple open. So look forward to doing that. Guys, we will see you next week on the 615 House Podcast. Take care.